This is Africa Special with a special edition about the security of the East African region and Africa at large. Today on my one-on-one, I'm hosting Professor, you can call him the dawn of political science, Professor Philip Assaija. You're welcome.
Thank you.
More issues we are going to dissect today, especially those which are concerning about the security of our region. Uganda, ADF, the UPDF and ADF are battling in the western region, which is now the eastern part of Congo. What is your take on the way how you see the situation about the two?
Thank you very much. I don't know whether you are using the right word, battling. I don't know whether there's any battle which has taken place other than the fact that we had the UPDF announcing that it had bombed the hideouts of the ADF. I don't know whether that amounts to battle.
According to what they have said.
Yes, this is what they are telling us. So I don't know where there have been battles, but I don't have any evidence that there has been any battle because we have not been shown anything. So I don't know whether we are using the right word.
The right word could be what?
I think it's more of mop-up operations against the ADF in Eastern DRC by the joint forces of FATAC, which is the National Army of Congo, and the UPDF.
But do they really exist, the ADF in quotation?
Well, we are told that it exists, and I don't have any evidence to the contrary that it exists. This is what we are being told. But equally also I've seen reports which link or which say that the ADF has now turned into Islamic State of Central African Province. So if we follow that line, then I would imagine that the ADF does not exist. But what exists is the ISIS.
Okay, the Islamic State.
Yes.
Since 1998 or since 1980s, the government of NRM has been facing a number of rebel groups which are challenging their overstaying in power, right from the likes of Lakwena, Itongwa, Joseph Kony, and now the ADF. What could be the reason why those people are against this government?
No, but it's not even 1998. We go back to the time when the NRM took over. NRM took over in 1986. The rebellion began about 7 months after coming to power. The first rebellion was UPDA. And then later on we had all these other groups that came up. Now, for anybody who wants to understand why the rebellions, of course they can be explained in many different ways. One, it could be that people are fighting to go back to power, which they had lost. Groups like Holy Spirit Movement and the LRA.
That one of
Lakwena and Joseph Kony. And even UPDA of Odongo Latek. The idea was that they were trying to go back to get power, which they had lost. But other groups have been a little bit more not really having a national agenda, but rather having a regional agenda. For example, we had the Itongwa group, which was fighting for federal in Uganda. So we've had different groups coming up to fight for different things.
But do really the ADF have an agenda?
I don't know. I have not seen it. Whether they have the agenda, I don't know. But what I know for a fact is that they are a group which is based on, Islam. And what I hear these days, they are talking about jihad. Whether it is regional jihad, whether it is national jihad, or whether it is international jihad, I don't know. But we have an indication. Since now they are linked with ISIS, which ISIS is committed to world jihad, I would imagine that they are also now talking about world jihad.
We shall also look into the matter of UPDF is going to Congo without a permission from Parliament, and even the natives at home are not even also supporting it. Does it really count in a sense?
I don't know whether the natives are not, the citizens are not supporting it. From what I have heard is that people have been expressing support for the intervention, for the incursion. But whether it is the Parliament had to give permission, we need to look at the law. The law, the UPDF Act, says that in the event that UPDF is sent for peacekeeping or peacemaking, then the president is supposed constitutionally to report to Parliament and not really to grant permission, but to inform Parliament with a view for Parliament to getting taking a decision. Now that has not happened since 30th of November. Whether that constitutes a breach of the law, or breach of constitutional requirements, it is neither here nor there, because I've heard also that this is an operation which is not peacekeeping. This is an operation which is not peacemaking, at least for the legalists. That's what they will tell you. What is contemplated under the UPDF Act is the peacemaking, as in authorized by either the African Union or the United Nations. And this is not an operation under UN or AU. So presumably the president does not have a constitutional requirement to report to Parliament. But I, for one, I would imagine that because wars are fought by people, they are not fought by armies. I would imagine it would be right, morally and legally right, for the president to seek to go and inform Parliament, and Parliament to inform, to make an informed decision on whether the intervention is right or wrong.
Basing on the historical records between for all the times UPDF have been going to Congo, reports have been coming back showing that we have looted gold and minerals from that country. Should we also expect the same? Because Congo has reported.
Why do we want to impute wrong motives? Yes, mistakes were done in the past, and we have learned. I would imagine UPDF as an institution has learned from those mistakes. So this time round, I would imagine that they are going to behave better, because that's the expectation of everyone. Since we were accused of all those shenanigans when we went to the DRC in the 1990s, looting of gold, killing people. I think as a professional institution, the UPDF should not be engaged in those things. We go for the mission, let it do the mission, what it took, why it went there, and then come back to within our borders.
If, according to those who are reading the news in the corridors, are saying that Felix Tshisekedi is paying back to Mr. Museveni for supporting him, like even in the deal of Congo, Uganda road project, of which they are planning to construct, of the 223 kilometers, which is going to cost.
I don't know. I mean, look, the Congo has applied to join the East African community, and as far as I know, the decision has been taken, at least at the ministerial level. The Council of Ministers has taken the decision to admit the DRC into the East African community. Now, the roads that you're talking about will be part of the projects which will be possibly done under the integration arrangement. So the issue of paying back, I don't have evidence to show that Tshisekedi is paying back, but presumably it's because we need to pacify the eastern part of the DRC to enable these projects to take place, which projects, of course, will be helpful to both countries, DRC and Uganda.
At a point of applying to join East Africa, where most of the East African countries, especially like Uganda, Rwanda, they are not at the same page, especially the leaders. Now, what does it really mean to a common man? Who is...
To a common man, look, the point is that even in integration processes, even in Europe, let's take an example of European Union.
Yes.
There are disagreements in the European Union. I mean, you have had...
But this one of Uganda is beyond.
No, I don't think it's beyond. Why? What makes it
to reach
beyond?
At a point of crossing even the borders?
Well, the border can be closed. It's part of the disagreement. So if it is part of the disagreement, then I don't see any fatal blow to the integration process, because those are things which can be ironed out within the integration process itself. But Uganda being at loggerheads with Rwanda, Uganda being at loggerheads with Kenya should not stop other countries from joining, because at the end of the day we need to have free movement of people, goods and services for all of us.
Doesn't it going to make the same reflection of the 70s when Amin wasn't at the same page?
Not necessarily. People have drawn parallels with that, but I think things have changed. Things have changed in the sense that now what we have an integration arrangement which is built on people. Even the treaty itself says the integration process is people-centered. People-centered meaning that we are not integrating leaders, we are integrating people. And I think this is the most important thing that we need to read in this whole arrangement of integration in East Africa.
Still again, in the center of East Africa, do we really gain anything or much more importance from the East African Parliament? Because we also sent representatives there, but when it comes to laws governing our community, we don't get much more.
No. The East African Legislative Assembly is an organ of the East African community, like the East African Court of Justice, like the Secretariat, and all the other organs of the community that have been created. So if there is dysfunctionality in terms of the laws which are made in the Parliament, or whether you feel that the East African Parliament is not doing anything in terms of legislation, presumably it's because it's been designed the way it is designed. But as far as I know, the East African Legislative Assembly has been passing resolutions, for example. There was a resolution which was passed, if I remember, on the conflict in northern Uganda. There have been resolutions. Of course, yes, we should be concerned. Why? Because these resolutions might not, or decisions might not necessarily have direct effect in the member states. So what we need to do is to work very hard so that the decisions of the East African community are directly effective in the member states, which is what happens in the European Union, to make the institutions more stronger. But it's just 20 years old. ESC is just 20 years old, and I think it's work in progress, and we'll reach there.
At a point where some leaders doesn't want to go out of power, for example, like a Mr. Museveni, who is now
who says that he doesn't want to go? Yes, but who says that he doesn't want to leave power?
When other countries are changing their leaders.
Yes, but look, has he stayed without the constitution or without the constitution? At least I've seen.
But purportedly, he's trying to show that I'm voted. But
where is the evidence?
In actual sense, people are complaining and even courts are.
But which people? Which people?
Those who are competing with him.
Yes, but they are the ones who defeats. So if you're one of the defeats, what should be the problem? Because this is a competition. It's a marketplace of ideas. It's a marketplace of democracy. So, and that's what democracy is about. So if you are saying that you're imputing to say that the man is staying around 40 years, the man, what can I say? I will leave it at that.
That one it has also dragged me into a question to the politicians of Uganda. Do we really have serious politicians in our country, especially like those in opposition?
No, you look them. I mean, you live in Uganda, like any of us. All of us are citizens. So
you're a don of political science.
Yes,
you know.
Yes, but you see, the point is that I'm not a don of opposition. I don't understand opposition. I don't understand the government. I study politics. So if you ask me the question whether there is an opposition in Uganda, how would I know whether there is an opposition or there is no opposition?
If we compare like the likes of Paul Simugirili,
but he's a retired man now, so why do you want
the way how they were playing their they used to play their politics?
Yes, he used to, but he's not now.
If we center now to those who are playing the politics of today in opposition, the likes of Bobby Wine, Besigye, the Norbert Mao, they don't show any validity that they can change this government, or they can talk over this.
How do you come to that conclusion? How do you come? Where is the evidence?
Basing on the time now, it is going to 40 years.
Yes,
competing with one man.
Yes, but even Samogere competed with Museveni.
But he showed that he have failed. Now let me hand over.
Yes, but so what does that mean? What does that mean? So do you want to say that the other ones also have failed? Have they failed because of 40 years?
It looks like.
Have they failed because they have not declared that they have failed? So I don't know. Because we need evidence. There has to be evidence. Has Besigye said he has failed? I have not had any declaration that he has failed. Has Norbert Mao failed? He's still the president general of GB. Has Bobby Wine failed? He is still the president of NUP. So where is the failure now?
Compared to the way how they express their views. And
why would you want to compare? Why do you compare? Because these people have views. You are like you and me. We have views. So the people have views, and for them they have put. In fact, the difference is for them they have put their necks on the line. Because being in opposition in this country is not easy. Or in any other country, by the way, which is not, especially in our countries which are very fragile, fragile democracies or whatever you want to call it. It's not easy to be in opposition because everything you put it on the line. So even for them to be there in the opposition, what do you call the opposition? And then you call them they are not serious. I think they have played their part and they are playing their part. They will also depart. Others will come.
But who failed them? Who failed them?
No, I mean, I have not said they have failed.
Because according to what Besigye used to say,
yes,
that those in elite class have not supported them and have not done their part.
Equally, that is that you don't agree with that. What support do you want the elites to express? To say to also go to the streets and then demonstrate? Not in politics. So it cannot not only be that people have to go to the streets in order for you to measure and say, oh, they are supporting me. No, not necessarily. And that's why I disagree with the kind of some of these politicians, because it's not only because you make a statement like that. Because where is the evidence? Because we need evidence, and I don't see it.
back again on the way how our politicians are representing the common man. Recently, as some of the senior citizens within our country have been making a motion of having a national dialogue. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
That Uganda is ready to have a national dialogue
I
to bring the country back?
I absolutely support national dialogue, because without talking, then the country fails. Even the countries which are developed, they talk. People talk. That's why you see when there is for example, when there is a national crisis in the US, everybody will come together. All the former presidents, whether Republican or Democrat, they will all stand together to show the country that they're actually united. In this country, this is where we have a problem, because we have been working at cross purposes. Politicians who don't talk. It's politics of belligerence. And that's why really it says so much about the kind of country that we live in, where you don't have opposition politicians talking to the government. They look at themselves as enemies. It's absolute nonsense. Because you can't build a country like that. A country is built on dialogue, a country is built on reconciliation, a country is built on accountability. Because when there's accountability, how do you ensure that the resources which you are raising within the country are being spent, spent well? And that's why you have to have a dialogue. That's why you have to have a conversation. And if I was to recommend, then we needed the dialogue, national dialogue yesterday. Not even today, yesterday.
But who can engineer that?
Of course, look, anybody can engineer it. Look, the government has a responsibility, with the one which is exercising power. It should show magnanimity and say, look, guys, extend an olive branch. Of course, they will say, oh, we have been talking in iPod. But we know the limitations of iPod. Some of the parties have not been participating in iPod. Some parties think iPod is just there for people just go and drink tea and then take photos and go away, because there's no substance which is discussed there. So it is incumbent on every political player in this country to sit together so that we can discuss these national issues.
At a country like Uganda, where we have never, because since independence, we've never changed peaceful, we've never had peaceful transition of power. Do you think that we can have that?
Why not? Why not? There's always
when one man is saying that he's the only one holding vision for
no,
others.
But you see, vision, this is neither here nor there, because look, so supposing he died, let's just assume supposing he died, what would happen? The country will have to move on. So what I'm saying here is that yes, we will have a peaceful transition of power at some point. It will happen. There's always the first time.
I'll use the word corridor talks of politics. Within the big house of State House, there is a grudge of war between the sitting president, his son, and his son-in-law. Everyone is eyeing that big chair.
I mean, again, there's evidence. So what is the evidence of this war?
Because
I don't live in state.
According to them,
no, I don't live in State House.
General Mohoz, who has also been putting that on his Twitter handle.
Yes,
we don't have any grudge, though the public is accusing them. Do you think is it a wise move for Mr. Museveni to refer his son to take over the power?
I have no evidence to the effect that he's doing that. I don't have any evidence, so I cannot speculate. For me, I look at evidence, and so far I have not seen that evidence. Whether the man is writing on his Twitter handle and Twitter account and saying this or that, I have not seen evidence. I have not even seen that tweet. But because I don't live in a State House, secondly, I don't know what goes on in there. Whether there is a war between the son and the father and the son-in-law, I don't have an idea.
Have you ever heard about the Mohoz project?
Yes, the Mohoz project, I've heard about it. Sejusa wrote about it. He even went in exile for that. And he came back. And I don't know under what terms he came back. But my point is that we need to have evidence. Minus evidence will just be engaged in speculation, and which is not very helpful. So let us give these people the benefit of doubt. They were elected the other day in this year, January 2021. They still have another 5 years to go. Another 4 years to go on their term. So let us see what happens. Because I think engaging in speculation will just make us grow old for nothing. Let us see. You see, let us judge them by their fruits, as the Bible says. They will judge them by their fruits. So let us judge them by that.
Like the son himself, all the interests and even the signs are showing that he's also interested in taking over Uganda.
I don't know, because he can say it. Like any other body can have aspirations.
But does he qualify?
Even me as Kasaita, I can have aspirations. I also want to rule this country, but wait, I can not even rule, because rule is a different thing. Govern is more, because you govern, you don't rule. Ruling is the kings and queens and the presidents govern, because it is consensual governing. So even me, I might have my interest to govern this country, just like Moses has, like the president has been there. So for me, it's, look, let us all have our aspiration, but the most important thing is, can we do it peacefully? Can we do our politics peacefully? Can we have politics of maturity? Can we have the politics which is not this punch and judy, people being dragged in the streets? It's just primitive. The kind of politics which is played, it's just primitive. This is what I will tell you. And that's why some of us, when the message says the elites have not, because what we see is not, it's just absolutely, I cannot join that kind of stuff. And I will not even have any aspiration to join that kind of stuff. I want the politics of maturity. Let's talk about issues. Let's have alternative policies. Tell me what you are going to do on privatization. Tell me how you are going to deal with the issue of ADF. Tell me how you are going to deal with the issue of poverty. At independence in 1962, we had three enemies. The three enemies were poverty, disease, and ignorance. Have they gone away?
Not yet.
Exactly. So these are the things which should be uniting us so that we can fight it. You can fight it. Not to go to the streets and you tell me about, because then you will, the elites are supporting me. That's absolute nonsense.
The way you see our parliament, because this time round, the youths have tried to show their interest of changing power, and they have voted in the quotation, like I would say, ignorant and incapable MPs to attend in parliament.
Who are those ones?
There are many there.
The minimum qualification of an MP in this country is senior 6, and anybody who attends the education of senior 6 is not ignorant. I assume he's not ignorant. So that's really wrong characterization to say the youth, they know what they are doing. So senior 6, that's the minimum. That's all that it was put there. These are not illiterates.
Basing on the laws they have been passing in our country.
Like which one?
In parliament.
Like which one?
And supporting to amalgamate the constitution of our country.
And
do you think, like supporting the age limit and others?
Yes, but these things are being done. These things are being done constitutionally. And for anybody,
but not in the favor of the public.
Even if you are the one in parliament, possibly you do the same thing. Because this is a constitution, it's a constitution. The constitution is not cast in stone. So for anybody who argues around, and this is what I find very disturbing. When someone says, you see, the constitution is not cast in stone. There are provisions. Article 258, 259, 260. They talk about amendments, how a constitution is amended. So anything which is done outside that, they need to be unconstitutional. And as far as I remember, and as far as I know, these are things which are beyond the constitution. Not that I'm an apologist of the regime or anything. I'm just talking about things which are based on the law, in books which I know.
I'm dragging you again on the same question. Basing on our parliament representatives, those who are representing different counties or communities, do you think that they can make any change in the move to make our country a better country?
Yes, but what change are you talking about?
With mature politics you've been talking about.
Yes, look, the point is, it's not on the parliament, it's not on the role of parliament. It's all of us to do mature politics. It's not on the parliament. It's not on the parliamentarians who are politicians. It's not on politics is not done in parliament. Politics is done in political parties. Politics is done in parliament. Politics is done in the local government. So for you to reduce everything to parliament, I think that would be unfair. Because yes, they are part of a cog in the wheel which is comprised of cogs. So they are one of the cogs in the wheel. So all of us have to play a role.
Still again, this is not about politics or security, but it is within the issues which have been disorganizing our country. Do you agree that Uganda, we don't have corruption, but we have thuggery?
No. Look, whether it is from the IGG, whether it is from CCID, there's corruption in this country. And they talk about corruption. And it's good that you asked this because yesterday was the other day. It was an International Anti-Corruption Day. So if there was no corruption, why would they be celebrating around here?
Maybe they are just
or remembering or telling people not to be. No, look, everybody knows, even the reports from IGG are there. Reports from Parliament are there. You look at the Hansard, look at the parliamentary reports from different committees, especially those accountability committees, there's corruption. So whether you want to call it corruption, whether you want to call it thuggery, in any case, I would actually imagine that thuggery is part of corruption.
Isn't it a
Thuggery is part
misuse?
of corruption.
Isn't it a misuse or misconception? Calling it corruption, yet it is a misuse of office and thuggery.
Well, look, misuse of office is part of corruption.